they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Oh, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Monday, February 19th, 2024, and this is episode 636 of the Lots Project podcast, titled Back to the Swing Shifts, and I'll be chatting about getting back to swing shifts with the stove around here. A beautiful day for a walk yesterday and a recap of the rest of the weekend and more. First, let's check out who's hanging out in the coffee crew in the live chat. Grab a cup of coffee, hang out for about an hour, and we will see what's going on. Good morning, Jim. How we doing? Rewilder Life, how we doing? Cormac swinging in. How's it going? And Gingerbread Farms, yeah. What's in the cup this morning, guys? I am I'm sitting here enjoying my Tanzanian light as we speak. It's a blend of light and medium Tanzanian peaberry. Tanzanian peaberry. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, guys, a little distracted this morning. Yeah, just a little distracted. That's okay. Good morning, Pip. How we doing? How's it going? I hope everything is going well down in Florida. You had a good weekend, and they got the carbecue picked up and taken care of. I saw the pictures this weekend. So how did that go? Any major damages to the car dealership with the roasty toasty car inside? Morning, Pickle Pete. How we doing? Oh, just dealing with your fallout from your conversations in my chat this morning. I appreciate that. All right. Well, what are we talking about today? Back on the swing shift. And what does that mean? It got cold. It got cold here in Tennessee the last few nights. I think it was last 2 nights has been down in the lower 20s, and the day before was in the mid 20s, late 20s. Pickle Pete, no, just scroll up in the comments. I'll talk to you about it later. I'm fucking over it, actually. So we'll talk about it later and figure it out. Pip's loading up the pews for a range day. That sounds fantastic. Been cold enough that we decided we were going to start running the stove again overnight, the wood stove again overnight, because it was significantly below freezing. James, get the fuck out of here. Leave. Don't fucking talk in my chat anymore. Don't fucking talk on my live streams anymore. Just fucking go. You're a miserable fucking human being. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It gets too much sometimes. It just gets too fucking much sometimes. Has nothing to do with me, my chat, or anything. Just fucking get over it. Nobody thinks you're edgy. No one thinks you're fucking cool. Everybody just thinks you're a miserable human being. So, anyway. It started getting cold. And so we had to run our stove overnight. And so that meant that we're back to the swing shifts, and and having to get up in the middle of the night and rotating through. So we're trying to get at least 4 hours each. So back and forth. But unfortunately, for some reason, my phone decides not to go off at the 2:30 a.m. Hey, good morning, Hunter. Shall I go and come back later? No, we're good. We're good. I just don't need to get up and read bullshit every fucking morning in my chat. And it's been way too long. It's been way too long. I try to let people say whatever they want, but when you're just detrimental in every way to every conversation that happens in my chat or every chat that I see it, at some points it's just like, really? Really? I'm not going to moderate you, but really? Come on. Literally has when you talk about things that literally do not involve you whatsoever and you just bring a fucking cloud on things, no one wants to talk to you. Sorry guys, been up since 3 o'clock this morning trying to get this camper warm, and then I log on to see a bunch of bullshit. So little irritated. Anyway, yeah, trying to get back onto that swing shift and back and forth, but luckily it's only a couple days. It's tonight, last night, tonight, tomorrow night is supposed to get back up closer to freezing, and then we should be in the clear for a while. And we actually got 70s in the near future coming in the near future to warm things up a little bit. So that is looking good. I do not like the getting up, going back to sleep, getting up, going back to sleep. And um I just I guys, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's at some point you have your breaking point with everything. And I try to be reasonable. I really do. And I probably am more reasonable than I should be a lot of times, against the advice of people that I trust, against the advice of people that mean a hell of a lot more to me than others. I just try to be a decent human being. And there's been a lot of times I've been a really shitty person in my life, and I've been in a bad way, and I've had people that kind of um handled me with kid gloves and helped me through some things. And so I try to be a decent human being back to people that are having a rough go of it, that are just finding their way or whatever they're trying to do. I try to be more understanding. I try to just take it as it is and let it. And at some points, guys, you just can't do it anymore. So sorry about the outburst a little earlier. I apologize for Monday morning. It is what it is. It is what it is. Um, but anyway, get done with that and move on. Been freezing overnight. Had We had a pretty big drop off there all of a sudden Friday. It was coming in the forecast. We saw it coming in the forecast. We were prepared for it. Like we didn't run shy of anything. It wasn't like we were struggling or trying to figure out what was going on. What was going on to make it through. But there was this. It was cold and then it got warm, and we didn't have that nightly routine. I didn't have that nightly routine, I guess, of draining the shower, draining the water, turning the water off, making sure everything was buttoned up, things like that. And then it came to Friday, and it was gorgeous Thursday. It was warm, it was sunny. Friday came along, and it was kind of temperate, and going into the afternoon it got cloudy, storms rolled in, and we got some pretty severe thunderstorms that rolled through. They were popping through when I was watching Kerry Brown's live. on Friday evening, so it must have been 5:30, 6 o'clock. There were some pretty significant storms rolling through. We had our new shower outside all set up, and we walked outside, and it had pulled the stakes out of the ground, and it was kind of like sitting sideways next to the camper, blowing in the breeze. Attached by the shower head was kind of like holding the whole thing. Corey and I went out and we reset all the small pegs, all the small tent stakes around the outside. Got that kind of buttoned back down, and then had to tie it to the back of the camper because the winds were not supposed to drop off. And the winds were so significant because it was like a 1,000-mile-an-hour wind. It's what it felt like. The camper was rocking. It was a really large cold front moving in. Whipping wind, pouring rain, significant lightning, and then it was just windy all night. And I was fearing when I went out in the morning that our brand new shower that we've used a handful of times was going to be laying in the neighbor's yard or on their roof or tore in half. It doesn't seem damaged. From what I can tell. Haven't really inspected too much because we had to break everything down and bring the shower in. So the heater, I guess, the water heater is inside. And so it was a rough night. And then that was Friday. So Friday night overnight, it wasn't too bad temp wise. Saturday night, it ended up getting down to 20. Like I said, I brought the propane heater in. I disconnected the hose. I turned the water off at the spigot. I opened the hoses. I got everything ready to freeze because I knew the temperature was going to get significantly cold. What's up, Haas? How we doing? They got a big storm coming in later today, up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, snow, tons of rain. Sounds wonderful. Sounds just beautiful. 60-mile-an-hour winds, rain, snow, sleet, and everything else. But anyway, we didn't end up getting any snow, but it got really cold. And the one thing I forgot to do on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening was check our water in our tank, like how much water we had in our tank. And so I turned the hoses off Saturday evening. We went to bed. We rolled the stove. We decided Corey and I were going to do our swing shifts and get up all night and keep it going all night. We get about 2 to 2.5 hours of burn time from our stove. And so we have to get up and fill it. Saturday night, go to bed. I stayed up till a late shift, stoked the stove. Corey got up in the middle of the night, and then I wake up because I had to take a piss. I wake up and I look at my phone, and it's 3:30. Well, I'm supposed to be up 2:30, 2:15, 2:30 to fill that fire. And I'm like, what happened? What my alarm didn't go off or what? I had it set for set for PM instead of AM. I didn't know what was going on. So I dealt with the fire. There were still a few coals in the bottom. It was still all right. I threw some wood in. I popped another fire starter in, and it took right off. So no harm, no foul. Went back to sleep. Actually, it was nice and stoked for when Corey got up to restoke it in the morning. Went back to bed. All good. Get up in the morning. Corey goes to change the dog water, morning routine. She goes to rinse out the bowl, and we're out of water. Tank's empty. Yeah, I forgot to check the tank. And so I was like, no problem. I opened the hoses. I turned the spigot off. It should be good. I'll just go out after we have coffee. We had enough water to have coffee and get the dogs their water, but it needed to be filled. And so I had a little coffee. I go out, turn the spigot on, open the valve on the or close the valves on the hose, open the spigot, go to open the valve on the hose, and nothing. Nothing. I'm like, really? It only got down to 24 degrees, and it was like a trampoline. It was down fast, and it was starting to come up already. It was pushing freezing already. The sun was out. I was like, it really couldn't have froze solid that fast. I work, in Minnesota in the spring and the fall, you get those swings all the time, and I never recalled the hose freezing that quickly. And I realized that I was never out in the morning using the hose in Minnesota. If I was going to use the hose after a freeze, it was going to be in the afternoon. The sun had beaten on it, or it had come above temp, and it had melted out. Good morning, Carrie Brown. How we doing? Strong Roots Resources mentioned your live earlier this morning. Earlier this morning, I mentioned your live from Friday night. You weren't doing a live earlier this morning. Anyway, I was like, what the hell happened? I opened the valves. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. The spigot's downhill from the hose openings where I had them both. So basically I turned the pressure off and opened the valves, and nothing drained out. That baby was froze solid. I told Corey, can we hold on for a little while? We'll go take the dogs for a walk. The sun was beating on the hose, and I was like, yeah, it should melt out. No harm, no foul. Couple hours later, we filled up the tank. We were good to go. Yesterday, I did better. I did the whole routine, but then I unhooked the hose from the spigot, laid it out in the yard, opened all the valves, so there was no vacuum pressure or residual pressure in there, and it all drained out. So hopefully we don't have a frozen hose today, but no, not gonna matter. Not gonna matter. It's going to get to 60 today, I believe. It's supposed to be 60s and 50s the first part of this week, and then we got 70s in the forecast. I'm excited for that later this week. It's supposed to be in the low 70s, and yeah, excited for the warmer weather. Excited for the warmer weather. It felt so good last Thursday when I was out at Delinquent's Gully and at Jamie's at Off Grid Ping. It was just a gorgeous day. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was the mid 60s in the sunny in the mid 60s with no breeze. And man, I heard all the people saying when we started looking into being full-time RVers and this and that, where they said they're always chasing 70. They're always chasing 70, and man, it's about right. It's about right. Carrie says, I kind of wish I had done a fire last evening, about 40 in the cabin. You didn't have a fire last night, my man? Whew. What was the overnight temp there? It got down to 20 here last night. I guess you guys probably have way more insulation. It was last night. This is the other thing. Last night, my alarm didn't go off again. I don't know if I just have it on the wrong setting, that whatever the alarm tone isn't waking me up, or what's going on. But I slept through it again last night. So I wasn't lucky enough as Saturday night when there was enough coals to get it started again. Last night, it was about the same time, but yeah, no go. I had to load it back up. I had to load it back up and try to get it started, and man, it just wouldn't light for me. And I think it was a lot to do with it was dark out there. I didn't want to light everything up in the camper and wake Corey up. I wanted to let her get as much sleep as possible. And it was my fault that I had overslept. So I struggled with it. I dicked around with it, and it just struggled with it. So I started at about 3:30, quarter to 4, and came about time for Corey to get up at 5, and I had started it and gone and laid in bed and looked at it and watched it go out, and started it and went back and laid in bed and watched it go out. Finally, I just went out there and sat next to it, and I kept lighting it. And I don't know if I put the wrong fucking wood in it or what the deal was, but it just wouldn't start. And so I just sat in the living room, awake in the dark, with the dogs coming and like looking at me like, "What are you doing?" It was just bad. It was bad. Hunter says Corey's gonna start kicking you. Fire watch. Yeah. If I was yeah, no. It was bad. It was bad. I'm glad we're coming out of that. We both agreed at the end of the week that we had to do it for a week. Just that rotating, getting up and stoking the fire, that we were glad that was over. So seeing it, having to do it again and start the whole thing over again, it was yeah. I don't know. I think I got to dig into my phone today. I think I had it on a I might have had it on a yeah. Hunter says, "What about the Blackbeard fire stick things?" Yeah, I'll tell you about that in just a second. Um, the I think my alarm was a different tone than I'm using for like my morning alarm, and it might have gotten the setting that there's no snooze, or there's no reset, there's no snooze. So as soon as I pick my phone up, it just turns off, and I think I'm grabbing it to turn it off, and then it's never going off again. It's never doing anything. And at 2:30 in the morning, I'm just Hunter says, "What about those Blackbeard fire stick things?" Yeah, they're great. They're great if you have kindling. You have like if you were in a survival situation or a campfire. I didn't have that stuff. Like we've been we have some in the bottom of our tote. So the way our wood supply works is we grab wood from Jamie out at Off Grid Ping. I come here and slice it down with chainsaw and then split it. And with these colder nights and wanting to keep the fire going easier, I've been keeping the chunks bigger. It's not 2-year season dry oak. It's not the ideal wood to be burning. It's been kind of sitting out in the rain, and we've gotten a lot of rain, so there is quite a bit of moisture in it. And it's not small enough. Like I didn't chop up kindling the other night. I knew we wanted these bigger chunks, and normally once we get it started, use what little bit of stuff filters down into the bottom of the tote. It's good. My problem was that I let it go out. I let the logs burn down too far. Let the wood burn down too far. There weren't enough coals, and the chunks were just too big. And Rewilder Life says nothing worse than wet unseasoned wood. It wasn't necessarily wet. I did get it under tarp, but I mean, wet as in it rained and snowed on it probably before I got it this round. So I'm bringing like a small load at a time over from Jamie's, and Jamie's got a huge wood pile that's just out. It's not under cover or anything, and we're just burning it up, and it's fantastic. It works. It heats the camper, and it doesn't burn out like immediately. It's not like so. It's a give and a take. It's definitely not the ideal wood. If we were stationary and I had a place where I could start preparing that wood, having it stacked for a longer period of time, having it under cover, protecting it from the rain and the snow, and letting it sit for a good long time, I think we would have done better. But it has worked. It has worked. So. Rewilder Life says, "I've been in this situation before and it stinks. I've fallen asleep on a cement floor trying to get the stove lit." Yeah. Oh, for sure. And this wood is fine, and it's so borderline that if you have the hot coals, if you have the fire rolling, and you put a new piece of wood in, it instantly dries it out. It instantly takes. I know I'm losing efficiency that way. Like I understand the whole. I understand calories and steaming off water and the energy it takes. It's not putting out heat. Like I get it. But for what we got going on, it works, except when it doesn't. And not set the smoke alarm off. Yeah. 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 So anyway, that's supposedly over. I haven't checked the weather this morning, but I believe that we're only supposed to get right around freezing tonight, so that won't have to be an overnight fire. We'll get it nice and hot before we go to bed, and I'll jam it full before I go to sleep, and then we'll let her peter out and fire it back up in the morning. So hopefully no more swing shifts for the remainder of the year. That would be good. That would be good. And get into the spring and summer, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice to have some warm temps coming this week. Rewilder life hitting that second pot. Yeah. Cold weather has me pooped. I've been two French presses since it got cold. I feel that it's less about the caffeine and more about the warm liquid, and enjoying that feeling like I'm getting a little warmer. And I get you. I don't necessarily feel tired. I just cold. We don't have our thermostat set to 60. It is what it is. Other than that, yesterday Corey and I got my oh, so you're fasting also. Yeah. Fasting makes you cold for sure. Haas says, can you use one of those Duraflame logs to help start the hard to light wood, or can't use them in a house? Not familiar with those. I don't think they'd fit in my stove. I suppose I could cut in half. The fire starters that we usually have. So the thing about the Blackbeard fire starters, they work great. They work great. They work what they're intended for. If you had some twigs and leaves and you were starting a campfire where you could take your time and properly do it and maintain it. Basically at 3:30 in the morning, I wanted to light the thing and have it work. And I didn't have the wherewithal to go out and gather any more kindling or leaves or anything. I mean, I'm sure I could have gotten it to work fine, and eventually it does. It needs to get it to catch the larger pieces. The fire starters that we normally get, and we ran out this weekend. The ones we normally get work really well, and I don't know what brand they are. They might be Duralog or Duraflame. I think they are mini versions of those logs, Haas. They are little packets. They come in a little cellophane pack, and I think it might be a smaller piece of that Duraflame log in the package. And basically, we put it in there and hit that, and one, maybe two of those, and it takes off. So yeah, we ran out. Basically, Chris Dixon says, if it's just a couple nights, why not run the propane to get some sleep? Because I don't want to run the propane at all this winter. The pride thing, I guess. I don't want to deal with the smell that's going to come out of that thing with all the dog hair that's probably down in the vents that we can't get to. We try to keep them cleaned out as much as possible, but with the dogs and the dog food and the dog hair, I don't even want to smell what comes out of there when it fires up. It works. Dixon says stupid pride. Yeah, I mean it is. It is a little bit. It is a little bit of stupid pride. It is a little bit of yeah, I don't yeah. It hasn't run in it's got to be a year now since we ran the propane stove or the furnace. I tested it. It works. But yeah, I don't know. it's it's pride. It's pride mostly. Thanks for pointing that out though. Yesterday we had to go get a little bit of wood out at Jamie's. And Corey hadn't been out at Tim's in quite some while. Hadn't been out to Delinquent's Gully, so we decided it was nice. It was probably in the 40s, high 40s, 50s, low 50s. It was sunny. Let's go take a walk. Let's go take a walk, and we went out there. I showed her where I planted all the elderberries that all the elderberries that Carrie Brown sent out. I showed her kind of what I'd been working on. We walked around. We walked up to the very top of the property, all the way along the back edge, and checked out this corner that I've been looking at, and wanted to show her and get her thoughts on it. We kicked up a big old deer. He was a pretty good sized deer. He's already got some pretty good sized horns on him, so I think he might be a keeper, but always kicking up deer out on that property. So that's good. And it's good. It's good. It can be troublesome for trying to get some certain species of plants in there, because they'll like to find them and eat them. It's only a 15-acre property, so it's not that expansive. And I think the fact that a lot of people are building there, doing some groundwork, taking out trees, they're really confusing the deer. They're pushing them to the properties that haven't touched anything. And I found probably 3 significant size deer bedding areas on that property, and can pretty much rely on the fact that every couple times I'm out there, I'm going to kick up at least one. Normally it's a pair or 3 does that go bounding off when I'm wandering around over by their bedding area, but it's pretty. They got a nice spot. And I think there's more pushing in there, just because of they're getting pushed off where they currently are. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we took a nice walk. It was a beautiful day. Then we stopped and talked to Jamie and his son and grabbed some wood. Corey got to hang out and see her get her farm animal fix. She got to see the chickens and the guineas and the rabbits, and got to see Bruno the dog and Garfield the cat, and she was happy. So that was the majority of yesterday. The rest of the weekend was spent working on paracord projects. Been getting into that. Just we had the supplies. I kind of talked about it. I made another attempt at one of these survival bracelets that we found a long time ago. Like when we first went to the farm, had all the supplies for that, picked up a little bit of paracord, made one of those, and I really still wasn't super happy with the product. But Corey was like, hey, let's use that paracord and see if we can make just normal bracelets and normal other things. So we went down that road. Like I mentioned last week, we ordered a bunch from Atwood Rope, started messing around with those. Corey has been on fire making just regular bracelets to have on hand. We're probably going to get them up on Etsy here pretty soon. Also have them for in-person events and get them on the website. But as we were making those, we were looking, beard ties for sure. As we were looking at those, we decided to look at other knots. This was just a standard Cobra knot that we were using. We started looking at different knots. We started looking at different products. Hey, could you do me a favor while you're there? Could you grab me my things off the table next to my water bottle? Yeah, well, there's some on the table. They're not sweet. Thank you. And so as I was looking at different websites, different paracord, there's tons of them out there, guys. If you want to get into knotting, you want to get into making paracord stuff, man, there's just a ton of information out there. And I found this really cool site on YouTube, and I can't think of it as Weavers of Eternity or something like that. Dude's really good. His tutorials are fantastic. His videos are great. But I saw one of the things on his site were these short little strings, short little strings with some weights on either end. Beglery, I think is the name. He says that it is a toy that kind of originated back in Greece. I did a little research when I was looking into them. Hunter says naughty boys might be the wrong guys to look up. But from my research, yes, it was a toy back in Greece. Came out of Greece, but these actually started as weapons, of course. But basically, it's some weight on either ends, and the DIY version that he made just uses hex nuts. It's got a nice big old knot ball on this end and a slip knot on this end. You can wear it as a bracelet, but basically it's a fidget toy. Just flipping it around and spinning it, learning how to move it between your fingers. It's just a little it's something that people use as a distraction, as something to ward off boredom if they're waiting in a line or whatever. But one of the biggest uses is breaking habits. And I was like, I want to make one of these things and just mess around with it, see if it's something that I want to make more of. They're really pretty straightforward and easy to make. I was like, I could make a bag of them and just have them out, but I wanted to mess around with them for me. Pickle P says lifeguards needed one of those. Pip says cool. Kind of reminds me of a monkey fist. I will be making some of. I will making some of these that both ends will be a weighted monkey fist, and it will also have a slip knot to wear on your wrist. But basically, instead of picking up my phone and doing and scrolling or just picking it up because I need that stimulation, I'm going to pick that up and work on that a little bit. There's a few videos out there on how to get started, how to make it fun before you get sick of doing it and don't want to do it anymore. A few 3 or 4 different exercises or moves that you can learn, and then you start putting them together. And as you get better and better, you can continue to learn how to do different things with it. So instead of picking up my phone, I'm going to pick this up. So I'm gonna pick that up and fiddle with that instead of picking my phone up and distracting myself with that. I also yeah, I think it can be relaxing. I think once you don't have to think about doing it, it would be a great thing to use while you're meditating or trying to get into meditation. Once it is something that you can do subconsciously, you've done it so much, pull it out, sit down, start start doing it, and there's a little clack that comes with it, depending on what you're doing, because the hard ends hit each other. And man, it's great. It's great. Except my wife doesn't really like the sound of it. It was interesting. I was like, "What do you think of this?" And she just kind of looks over at me and was like, mm. So I'm gonna be doing that in my room, or getting some other sort of weights for each end. The monkey fists ones I think are going to be really nice because it's going to be paracord on paracord, and I don't think it's going to be clack 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 clack. Um, Chris Dixon says if you get frustrated enough, you use it to start the fireplace. That's what I was thinking. You could pull that paracord apart, and it's lots of fire starter. Pip says he likes the idea of that pre-distraction from the cell. Yeah, that was my big thing. And then I was also thinking about sending sending one out to Kyle to help with that ongoing hand to mouth fixation from smoking for so long. I know that was always the biggest hurdle quitting smoking, was not necessarily the chemical addiction. We can all get through the chemical addiction, but it's that hand to mouth. What do I do with my fucking hands, Ricky Bobby? What do I do with my hands when you don't have that cigarette to hold on to? So you want a cigarette, instead of picking up the pack and the lighter, you pick up your toy and start playing with it. So always on your wrist, always there. So yeah, pound out a bunch of those. Corey made a bunch of bracelets. We're on the path to designing some dog leads, which will be very very well needed by the time we get them done, because ours are getting to a point where they're wearing down. It's a lot of weight pulling on those things, and we've kind of hobble cobbled together to work for us. So we're going to make something specific for our dogs and what we want and how we use them and how we walk them and things like that. So exciting stuff. I'm really impressed with the paracord that we got from Atwood. We're excited to order some different colors, and then some different weights of cord, some micro cord, some 95 cord, some things like that. We've been seeing other projects on some of the YouTube channels with some different size cords, so that's exciting to think about. And yeah, I got so like Pip says, some monkey fist stuff coming. Planning on doing some monkey fist keychains, mini monkey fist, not some 8-ball size ones that'll put somebody to sleep for you. Maybe in the future, but maybe some 1-inch steel ball bearings inside on a keychain. Make some of the beglaries with some beglaries made with monkey fists on either end. I also saw this really cool little project I'm excited to get into. I have a couple things I have to pick up to do it, but he has a tutorial on how to make mini nunchucks. He calls them thumbchucks. Basically 3-inch on either end with a connector cord, and those look really fun to mess around with, and just as a little novelty. So just little projects to do while we're sitting here in the evening, spending time with each other. And it's stuff that we can concentrate on, being with each other or watching a movie together, and still make something productive and feel a little productive by the end of the night. Pickle Pete says Candace hates slurping coffee. That's convenient. As long as it's not a crying baby, he's good. I have some I definitely have some sounds that do it for me. The air conditioner running all the time in the trailer is a rough one. Um the dogs not necessarily starting to get a drink of water, but when it goes on for over 60 seconds, over 2 minutes, it gets to a point where it's you're just like, Is it gonna stop? What are the other sounds? I don't know. I'll have to make a list of those. Chris Dixon says I need dog leashes made from 1100. That's beefy. I'm pretty sure what we'll end up doing is actually a king cobra wrap. So that would be a cobra knot with another cobra knot over it. It'll be for a 6 foot leash. I think it was a couple 100 feet of 550. Um, it'll be they will be beefy for sure, for sure. And he says monkey fists are illegal in Canada. Shocking, I know. Now, what if it's a keychain with a ball on the end? Like, how do you ban, what is banned? A blunt force impact tool? How is that banned? Do you know? Like, how is it written? Because I know I need to go down that road to figure out what it is. Can you just label it as a keychain? Can you just label it as a tire checker? Things like that. Hunter says dogs licking themselves, like lazily licking for hours. Yeah. Hunter, I hear you. Once they get their fur wet, like if they're licking their nuts and they're like, and then as soon as the fur around it gets wet, it's like slap, slap, slap. Pickle B says our Louisville Sluggers outlawed themselves also as well. And Chris says it's like the life laws, it's all interpretation. Yeah. Like I don't plan on showing up someplace at a vendor tent and having 8-ball monkey fists with handles on them and a 2 foot cord so you can like literally kill somebody with it. Maybe, maybe, but I don't know how much damage you could really do with a 1-inch ball bearing padded with 550. Maybe we'll find out. I'll make a bunch of them, and Corey's gonna be like, let's see how they work, and she'll whack me in the head, and I'll be done. Hunter says, "Oh, yeah, man. Like, how else you gonna throw a deck line? Right, right. You can send somebody to the hospital with a 1-inch ball bearing monkey fist. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Oh, nice, nice. I'm thinking. I was trying to do the math. Well, it wouldn't really be the math. I was just trying to picture the force and the weight of a 1-inch ball bearing. I didn't know with the cushion of the 550 if there was enough weight there to do damage. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't feel good, but huh. Pickle Pete. Yeah, that's right. The impact area is a millimeter. That's true. That's true. Hunter says it's better with like a 5-inch. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm picturing like a pool ball inside a monkey fist. And then I'm going, okay, now I got a 1-inch diameter steel ball bearing. I know if I chuck that across the room and hit somebody in the head with it, it doesn't feel good. Oh, it's better with a 5-inch length. Okay, yeah, so you can swing it faster. I got you. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. That's a less than lethal, I would think. I would think a 1-inch I would think a 1-inch on a 5-inch cord would have to be less than lethal unless it was a fluke perfect hit. Hmm. Mike says, how many feet of cord will you have? How many feet do I need? What do you mean? Mike wants to like what per product or how much do I have here? I ordered like a 900 feet or 700 feet last time I ordered. The regular bracelets that Corey's making, I believe, is about 7.5 feet of cord in them. These little things that I'm making is only like it's between 2 and 2.5 feet. It's not a lot. But those keychains, we could really bulk them up and make it 10, 12, 14, 20 feet, whatever. I mean, you just keep tying knots. Yeah, Hunter says it also works if in your palm if you just think a roll of coins in your fist. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I gotcha. I gotcha. But we're just selling keychain, guys. This is all hypothetical. This is all this is all conjecture. I would never sell a weapon. I would never make a weapon either. It's all they're keychains so you don't lose your keys. Make them easier to hang on to. Like crap. Oh, in Minecraft. Yeah, we're just talking about making these things in Minecraft, guys. And distribute them in the nether world of Minecraft. I don't even if you told me I had to go play Minecraft or I would die right now, I'd probably die because I wouldn't even be able to figure out how to even go start. Oh, the length on the monkey fist, like Hunter was saying. I don't know. I haven't dove down that road yet. I was trying to source. I actually hit up Toolman Tim's group and was trying to source ball bearings locally. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. I did the hive mind thing, asking where people would source ball bearings. I had checked Lowe's, Harbor Freight, Walmart, all sorts of places, and all I could find was bearings in like a bearing, like a wheel bearing. And I wasn't about to just tear them apart. I wasn't about to buy that shit to tear them apart. And so I got some great connection or suggestions. Local hardware store like an Ace or a mom and pop hardware store. Started calling around. Canadian Farm says China. Yeah, no shit. Chris Dixon said if you got time to wait, Temu. I knew I could order them online, but I wanted to pick them up on Friday because of all the delivery issues I've been having with UPS and USPS and things. So I got down there on Friday. I was doing laundry, so I started calling around. I called the I started calling around. I called the Ace Hardware. She's like, "No, we don't have anything like that." I was like, "Well, using the power of networking." I said, "Hey, do you know anywhere I could find any in town?" She says, "Well, no, I'm not really sure. I've never tried to buy anything like that, but I would try Harden Farm and Tractor." And I had already tried TS Tractor Supply Company. They're just about useless for anything that you actually need relating to tractors and supplies. But I called this Tractor Supply. I'm like, "Oh, this is like a co-op tractor place, farm and garden. This is probably my winner." And I call and I was like, "Hey," guy answers, "Hardin's." That's the county. It's actually like Hardin County Farm and Tractor. There's like Hardin's. Hey man, do you have any 1-inch ball bearings? He's like, "Yeah, what do you need it for a 3/8 or a whatever, a 3 5/8 shaft?" I'm like, "What?" He was talking bearing, wheel bearing, hub bearing, whatever. I was like, "No, no, no, just the balls. I don't need the whole thing. I just need the balls." Where's Kyle when you need him? And he's like, "Nah, man, we don't have any." I said, "Is there anywhere local I can pick some up for a project?" He's like, "Not in Savannah. Good luck." I've tried. So I took it from him. I definitely took it from that guy. Just talking to him for under a minute, that he probably knew if I could find ball bearings in Savannah, and it was a no luck. So we're gonna have to order them up. I got some other stuff I want to order up to make some more of these little things and little toys, trinkets, and just stuff to have out on a table if we're hanging out at events or something. So it was interesting trying to find them. Oh, let's see what else is on the list here today. Episode up yesterday. Weekly report from Amazon influencers went up yesterday. It was a good episode for sure. I got my tracker semi finished, I guess would be the best way to put it. I've expanded the tracker of the data that I'm looking at on a week to week and a month to month basis. Really took a little while to figure out what I wanted to track, how I wanted to track it. And now as I'm building the spreadsheet, I also I also have to book time with my beautiful wife to teach me how to do some other stuff in Excel, which she's getting very good at with her job after the length of time she's been using it. And I said, "Hey, I want to do this." She's like, "Yeah, that's easy." Yeah, just making me feel like I should be able to figure it out, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let her teach me how to do it, so I don't have to go through the growing pains of teaching it to myself. Chris Dixon says, time to go to the scrap picking. Pulling apart greasy bearings sounds like a great date night. What do you think, Corey? She'd rather teach me Excel. She hates teaching me Excel because I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. How do you make it happen? And she's like, you want to what? And I'll explain it to her. I'll explain it to her, and she'll look at it, and then like 20 minutes into explaining, I was like, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't want it to do that. I wanted to do this. Canadian Farm says, wondering if you can teach an old dog new Excel. You can. I'm getting to a point where I'm dangerous enough with it. I had somebody comment on my video. Had somebody comment on my video last week, the week before. It was before I edited my my spreadsheet. It was before I edited it all. It was so rudimentary. Like basically it was text and numbers, and it was all hand entered data. It didn't have any formulas, didn't have anything like that. And I just made the blocks colors. I looked at it and went, man, this is not high end work by any means. And somebody commented on the video, and I was like, is this guy fucking with me? But he's like, man, that spreadsheet's awesome. I really wish I could learn how to do Excel that well. And I didn't know what to say. Like, I literally, you want to know how to do Excel that good? You click on the cell and type what you want it to say. Whether that's numbers or letters, it wasn't doing anything. Basically, I just put the stuff and I just typed in what I wanted. It was just, I could have wrote it on a notepad just the same. Wilder Life says she's not going to be learning Excel. Chris Dixon says, if I can learn it, anyone can, even the unteachable. Hunter says, dude, it's magic to him. And Rewilder Life says, I think you have to want to learn it. You do. And I'm going down a rabbit hole with it. I think I'm messing around with some stuff, and YouTube is a fair resource. I see Corey struggle with it sometimes when she's trying to learn something new or figure out something part of a bigger project. And you end up going down a lot of rabbit holes that aren't exactly what you want to figure out. You just don't. You don't. It's really hard to nail it down unless you know exactly what you're looking for. Rewilder Life says, convince me I need it. Maybe you can. YouTube sucks because they have the old vibe and then it doesn't help you with updated versions. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, formulas are formulas. The formulas you use are just standard math formulas. And I think that's why I vibe so much with it and it's so easy for me to kind of wrap my head around is you're basically using logic and algebra. And yeah, from logic and algebra. You have to picture it and you have to be able to understand that it basically is just doing what you're telling it to do. It's it doesn't have a mind of its own. Pickle P says interlinking 200-page formulas for what ifs was my old superpower. Yeah, that's Corey's in the weeds with that right now is reporting and things like that. Lots and lots and lots and lots of data and making it usable and functionable. Rewilder Life says she failed algebra. No joke. How'd you do with logic? I think it's more logic than it is algebra. I think it's more logic than algebra. If this then that, if this then that is a lot of it. Pickle P says crunching it, making it sing, making that data look the way you want it to look. We got 1 hour and 2 minutes, guys. We're over an hour. I got to wrap it up. It was a rough start to the week, a rough start to the day, but it is what it is. It's going to happen. And whatever. It's going to be a good week. It is going to be a good week. Got lots of videos to make. I got lots of video funny math. Funny math. Government math. I think logic might have been around before government. Yeah. No, well, it was been around a lot longer than our government for sure. But anyway, I'm excited for this week. I got a lot of video that I got to edit up today and get posted up on Amazon. I've been slacking on getting the videos posted. Been doing a lot of other work with that, and a lot of other planning and long-term stuff that I'm setting myself up for long-term than in the short term and just pounding out videos. So I got a bunch recorded. I got to do some editing today, get some more up for that, and see how things are going. John Palmer, good morning and good day to you as we wrap up. I always appreciate you swinging in, even if it is in the last minute. Oh, God. I got to get out of here. Guys, I appreciate y'all listening. If you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit like, share, and subscribe. To return value for value, please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on any value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm. Visit thelostsproject.com to find more information or to find all my links to my partner companies, recommended products, discount codes, and things like that. That's another thing on the hot list for this week is getting some more stuff up on the website along with those partner company links and discount codes. Other than that, guys, make it a great Monday. Make it awesome. Make it productive, and set the tone for the week, guys. Set it to the tone for the week. Get it going and knock it out of the park. We will catch up with you tomorrow.
At the end of this longest ride.